Okay. The reason I have Caroline on is because she's awesome. But the biggest reason I have her on tonight is because I love the access to the data that I get at IDI Core. And you can explain what IDI Core is, Caroline, in a second here, but I want people to know that, and a lot of you in the group have asked me to research something because you know I have this great research tool. You've asked me to look up so-and-so, so-and-so, even people in Oklahoma and all that kind of stuff, your tenant problems and that kind of stuff, so I can give you the dirt on them. And so I am right now processing applications for tenants in my rentals, and before they even do the rental process, which goes through another company called Rent Perfect. Rent Perfect does background checks for me and credit checks and all that kind of stuff. I can look up and see who I'm dealing with before they show up at my apartment, and to take a look, a gander at it, that kind of thing. And as the case was today, I had somebody try to bully me into renting to him because he couldn't finish doing the Rent Perfect application, which he is just lying about and all this kind of stuff. So he ends up showing up at the apartment, and I already know his background check and all that kind of stuff because of IDI Core. I'm able to pull him up and see it. My plan is super inexpensive for me for what I get for it, and I don't know what the plan is now, so I'm not going to say it, right, Caroline? But it's really great, and it gives me access to everything I need on a daily basis to look up people and check them out, whether it's somebody that's going to sell me their property or potentially sell me their property. I want to know, do I need a guy with me before I go? Do I need a man there before I go? Is there a sexual abuse case in their criminal background stuff? And so this is not just finding people for me, this is protection for me. I'm just saying. And welcome, Alan. Mike, Caroline's our speaker tonight. I'm just giving a little bit of history of my work with IDI. I use it whenever something fishy comes up. I use it whenever I can't I get returned mail. I don't know if you can see that. That's the Nexi strip there. I get that. So I look them up that way too. I do a lot of mailers, and I need to know what the current address is. And I invited Caroline here. She's my person at IDI Core to show you guys the benefits of being able to and how to find people. So if you're marketing like I am a lot, or you're thinking about it, here you go. And so I'm going to turn it over to Caroline Blair. Thank you so much for being here tonight from the East Coast. Florida is 10 plus p.m. there, and I really
made it. I'm a rooster.
You're super.
So you gotta know I love you guys, and I'm grateful to be here. So thank you for having me, Grace. Real quick, Mike and Alan, do you want to tell me real quick, your scenarios of what you do and how you might look for data?
Well, you want like an introduction or just what I do with data?
Well, yeah, well, just basically what kind of real estate do you do? And
I have long-term rentals. I have a Airbnb house in its 10th year. I do private money lending, and probably that's the one main place where I like background information.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Alan?
Unmute, Alan.
So I'm new. Bought a private house. Into the game. Just been doing a lot of research. We bought a duplex, so it's a fixer. Hopefully down the road we get it fixed up, and eventually be a short or long-term rental. That's kind of what we're going for here currently. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great. Let me see if I can share my screen here. minute. There we go. All right, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So just to kind of tell you a little bit about IDI Core, and then I'll show you some things that could be helpful for you as far as finding people or properties, the information that you want on the platform. IDI Core, actually, this would be the login. We got started actually, we got started with Hank Asher. He was really the pioneer of data fusion. And he started a company called Accurant. Accurant was actually bought by LexisNexis, and he just had more in him. He wanted to create another company. He moved on to create TLO, which was bought by TransUnion, and then that was sold. So the executives from both of those companies moved over to create this company, IDI Core. And what's great about that is there's a foundational knowledge from those two companies, and we have more, more information as far as being a cloud-based company. We have more, just storage as far as, just being cloud-based. We actually have better pricing, and that's really about it. So we've been around 8 years. Really, our claim to fame is just the quality of our data. So that being said, I'm going to show you what that's all about. Okay, so this is a platform. We are offering a complimentary trial, 5 days or 50 searches on the platform for free, whatever comes first. We also do have batching, so you would have the opportunity to have batching, which is multiple records. Let's say you're looking up, you have a list of probate cases, or you have maybe utility shutoffs. Usually it's 1,000 plus records. We can do under that, but that's two services that we have: the one-off skips and the batching. So this is actually where you'll see in the middle here, if there is going to be an update, this is where it's going to be. This was our last update. It was a few months ago. It was where we actually broke down the relationships. So now you could actually see the potential relationships. Up at the top, you're going to see here, we have our main categories. We have the main category and their drop-down boxes: person, assets, sports, businesses. The same exists here. They're just expanded. So here you're going to see on the expanded person search, this would be typical if you're looking, for someone. If you want to find out more about them, you want good contact information, you might want to reach out to their relatives because it might be a probate case or something like that if you can't reach them. So here I'm going to show you an example. It's very simple. As you see, it's very user-friendly. So I'm going to put in Ronald Bickerstaff. He's from Burnsville, North Carolina. And when you do the search, this is what you see. All of this, typically, like I said, we don't have any hidden fees. We don't have any monthly fees, any subscriptions. It's just what you search is what you get. If you do have a certain volume of searches that can start at 60 searches a month or above, and you think you'd be consistent with that for a year, we do have discounts, flat rate discounts. So this is actually going to show you Ronald Bickerstaff's information. So the red D shows that Ronald Bickerstaff is deceased. Here you see anything that's a blue link will provide additional information, and it is an additional search. So this would show you his names. This would show you his age, and if he had potential ages. All this is his most current information, where he would have last lived. Also, you can see the last email address, IP address, bankruptcies. So if I clicked on here, you would see more information on the bankruptcies, liens, judgments, possible criminal infractions, business affiliations, and professional licenses. Down here, this is also very popular just with our real estate customers in general, just because it gives you the history of the um, property ownership. So this is going to show you here. If you look, this is going to show you, if you click on it, the house, you'll see down below it open up more information on his last property that he was in. So it's going to show you the current owners, the relationship, the mail, municipality, the parcel number, the year built, the latest assessments, taxes, total value, improvement value, bedrooms, bath size. If you click this arrow here, right below, you'll see the current owner transaction history. That will provide you additional information, everything from the date, the transaction, the sales price, the document number, the buyer, the seller, the arm's length, quit claim, filing date, and then of course you have the mortgage details. And if you click below, you'll see here the prior transaction history. And that's all the places that he's lived before. Kind of in a historical order with mortgage details as well. Is that helpful? Any questions?
I have to say, I've never used that part. I did not realize all that was there. That-
Yeah.
That's like, I don't have to do my other sources to get that information. Okay, cool.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Mike.
Okay, one question, when you put in the initial information, is it doing a live search, or is this pulling from a database, or you know, what is the search function? That's one. And then what is the plus or minus with or without social security number?
Okay, so we have two different accounts. One is, the most common account is a non-regulated. It is used for marketing and outreach to customers. That is normally what we use for just outreach, like I said, with marketing, with customers, anything you're doing and engaging customers. The regulated is a little more stringent, and that's usually has a social security number, it's a date of birth. However, it is a little bit more difficult to get. You know, it's usually have to be like a, you know, in like a bank or a private eye. You do have to have a private space that's locked up, an office. So it's pretty stringent criteria on that. And to answer your other question, you were just asking, where does the data come from? It actually comes from a variety of sources. It depends on, you know, which part you're looking at. So for example, the criminal information, if you look up here, this will show you a list of all of our sources that we get our criminal information on. If you just click any state, so let's click Oregon, just because you're there, you'll see this is where all of our data is compiled. That's just on the criminal portion. Okay.
What I was wondering is, when I sit down, click, put in the information, I hit enter, is it doing a live nationwide search of 250 different databases for all the information, or is it coming from your big server bank that you already have stored information?
It should be coming from our stored data bank, but we're constantly refreshing that. So,
And that was my next question. Then if it's coming from a static database, it's getting daily updates or something like that.
yes, we update our deceased records and our bankruptcy records on a daily basis, and we're constantly refreshing the data. So just ever refreshing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's go back. All right. So back to Ronald Bickerstaff. You're gonna see, as far as the phone numbers, the quality of our phones is what we're very well known for. This is showing you that the phone numbers are sorted using a proprietary confidence algorithm. It considers the source, the frequency, and the last date seen. So C represents cell and R represents residential. Okay, and this would be representing the last cell that he, was most possible that he would be found. Okay, when you move over to the right, you'll see that this is our relatives and associates information base. So this will break down the relationships, and you can see the spouse, other relatives, in-laws, landlord, unclassified associates. That could be something like a former roommate or a friend. And you can see if you click on the arrow, it will actually give you that person. Again, it's a blue link, which means you can get additional information. So if you clicked on Christina, you would see information just like this layout with Ronald Bickerstaff. And then next, you see the possible email addresses. Again, this, the top one, this would be the last one he probably used most frequently that you would find him. And then it kind of works its way down in a historical order. And then the possible IP addresses. This is just showing you the last IP address. The only thing that I can mention about an IP address is if they're at like a Starbucks or something like that, there might be multiple users. So, you have to take that into consideration sometimes with IP addresses. And then the house, if you just click on that, you get the same property information that you got up here when you clicked on the house here. Okay, so that's an expanded person search. Pretty easy, right?
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
What can you do with the IP address? I mean, how can that help us?
IP address, well, if somebody was coming to your site and you could get the IP address coming to your site, and when you type in the IP address, basically it will return the information on the person.
Or the location?
Not so much location, more like the person and their the information, just the information on the person.
Okay, I never understood. I mean, I see that. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And then, so next, I'm just gonna go to property search. This is gonna show you, remember to clear out here and remember to look up at the top that you're in the right place. So the property search, I'm gonna show you just a property. So you have 47 Thornton Avenue. You might be, let's say, driving for dollars. You might want to just find out who owns the place. This is how you do it. So here you see.
Well, when you did the person search, I thought then once you established that you're going to go to the next tab, click assets, and see the assets of that person. No?
No, it's just, I mean, if you want to, you can go to assets, but this is what's typically used as far as.
So the asset tab is actually, if you have an address, if you have some asset, you can put it in there and see what's associated with it.
Correct, like a property or an aircraft. So. Okay, so.
Well, what if you had person information, but you were looking for their assets, any bank accounts, anything that they have?
It's not necessarily set up for that. I mean, you could come in here and put it under the property search, or you could put it under the aircraft. That's kind of how we're set up as far as assets. And then also to just tell you about the property and some of the mortgage details as I showed you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here you want to find out a property owner. or more information, just period, on the property. Like I said, you might be driving for dollars. You write down the address, you put it in here. This is showing you the parcel number, the address, the owners, and the time of ownership. So these would be the most current owners. When you open up this arrow, this will give you more information on the properties, on the property. So this will show you the current owners, the municipality, the parcel number, subdivision, the legal description, the year built, the use, the assessment taxes, land value, and the size. Again, if you scroll down, you can have more information on that property. Everything from the transaction, the sales price, the document type, document number, the buyer, seller, whether it's arm's length or quick claim, the filing date. This particular one doesn't have the mortgage details, but normally they would be right here on the right. And then the prior transaction history, the same thing. This will show you just as what I mentioned above. Okay, are we good? And then on to the business search. Do you guys ever deal with businesses whatsoever? A little bit. Okay. So let me just show you quickly a business search. The business search will be my company, Red Violet. Whoops, I have to clear out of here. Red Violet. And we are in Burnsville, North Carolina. I mean, Boca Raton. I'm sorry, I've got Burnsville on the brain. Boca Raton. And that's Florida. Okay, so this is what you'll see. You'll see Red Violet, and you'll see the address, you'll see the website, and you'll have more information as far as the phone, the tax ID, the industry, the websites, the registration filing dates, the child companies. You see the principals. If you click on there, you get more information on those principals and also other contacts. Okay, so we also do have the criminal infractions, bankruptcies, liens, judgments. I do want to say that we aren't set up for tenant screening per se. I mean, we not for background checks either, not to base tenants on like credit worthiness. Some people do use the criminal background just you know, for different things, but it's really not supposed to be used like, you know, for like background checks. As far as the coverage, I showed you that, and that's where you can go to see where all our data is. If you need any help with IDI, you have the feedback button here, which will give you our support group. And you also can have a phone number. Okay. And then really that's about it. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, Mike.
Well, some of my questions were regarding, I have a gentleman that I did a private money loan with. He went into default, took him to arbitration. Arbitration court gave me the award. And so now we filed that award with the state of Oregon. And that's why I last left off at my last conference with the law firm. We got a call coming up this week for next steps. But, you know, basically it's like with this award, anything that this guy has, a bank account, a savings account, to anything, anywhere, whatever, we can take it. And I'm wondering how IDI Core could help me in finding anything that's in his name.
Well, I mean, we have like the bankruptcy tab, and we have, that's about it, but it's like we're not super set up. We're not geared precisely for that. So although you could look under liens or bankruptcies, it's, you know, it's not like we're set up
Okay, okay.
exactly for that.
Well,
but-
who is your typical customer target market? You know, what's the most use on your site is for?
Well, I in particular am the account manager for the real estate department.
Real estate.
So I can speak to you more for real estate. I can tell you I deal a lot with every kind of real estate situation, wholesalers, fix and flip. I
Okay.
have landmen,
Okay, that's good.
you know, just also, but we do have other industries. We have private investigators. We have police departments. We have banks. We have, you pretty much name it. Everybody has a little bit of a different use, a little tweak on what they need. So what I can do is I can offer you an IDI trial. It's as simple as this. Basically, I have an application. The application is 3 pages. It's very simple. It takes like 2 minutes to fill out. The first line of the first page will say name. That actually is your business name as you have it with the LLC or the Secretary of State. You do, well, the app actually, there's, basically it's just saying, okay, IDI has sensitive data. We just want you to respect that. You know, no looking up politicians or famous people, just, you know, kind of like that's the tone of the app. So once you fill out the app, then you get an account by going through a credentialing call. It's about 2 days later, you can get a call from IDI. They're just going to ask what it is that you know, you do, maybe a couple more questions just to validate your account, make sure you're authentic because it is, like I said, sensitive data. And then all that checked off, voila, you have the account. Then you can have the 5-day or 50 search trial. You can have the 150 record test batch, just so you can see by your use of the data, just the quality of the data and how useful it can be for you and your business. So really it's as simple as that.
Awesome.
I can send the app to Grace. I don't know if I can attach it here. Let me see.
I have it already. You sent it to me earlier today, the non-GLBA, non-DPPA
Yes.
document. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's really just like sign. That's what it is. Just, and then they're going to do, I'm guessing they're going to do some background check on you.
Well, they do, you know, they do want to make sure it is important that everybody is in good standing.
Yeah.
And they do, it is a requirement that you do have, you know, a business like an LLC registered with the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
So they are very mindful of you know, screening businesses. So,
you mentioned TLO in the beginning of this. My first engagement with background searches was with TLO, and that was quite a bit more of a process getting onboarded with them. In fact, they sent somebody out here to make sure I had a lock on my door and my office door and checked all that kind of stuff out. So I guess it was hardly anything to do with getting on with IDI Core, but I get that you're looking for the same sort of respectability in your customers to search. When they're searching, they're not going to do something like profile people or something like that. But
right.
yeah.
I mean, they want to make sure you're not using it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And like I mentioned, you know, not for background checks, not for credit worthiness for tenants.
Yeah, you don't have any sort of that kind of information on there. And as far as Mike's question of finding assets for the person that now he can garnish bank accounts or wages, my experience on that has been like when they pay you back prior to is always keep track of their bank accounts and then their checks and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure you knew that, Mike.
I have copies of the checks.
Yeah, and then you just like send a thing to that bank. But you know, when a person's on a run, they're on a run. Yeah, sorry about that, Mike, that you're experiencing that.
Oh, no, that's a good lesson.
That's right.
I've learned a lot through this experience. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I'm just starting out.
I
Do you
used
guys-
to I used to be a collections manager for the IRS, so I have some of that in my blood collecting.
That's great. That's great. Well, yeah, I would love for you guys to just try the complimentary trial. Just because the data talks for itself. I can tell you so much, but until you actually get and use it and find people and what you want with it, you'll know the difference once you use it. So how I'm gonna leave it is just, Grace, can I be assured that you would be sending that out to your team? I mean,
Yes, I can send it out to everybody that was so far. Nancy has joined here at the last 5 minutes and she might be interested. Nancy, I just letting you know that I've been recording this, but just how, since it's showing people's information in this, I think, you know, because the one that you showed, Caroline, is deceased, does that make it so YouTube might let it continue on my video file? Or do you know how that works?
how it will continue on. I apologize.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
only
just saying, like, so YouTube, whenever I've done like research showing databases in these Zoom calls, they won't let it be on my YouTube channel when I'm doing background searches or something like that and teaching that kind of stuff. So I was just wondering if that's why you chose a deceased person to show.
Well, we do, as all of our representatives have a small set of different scenarios and people that we can demo you, so to speak. It's
Okay.
approved. I can't
Generic
just-
files for demo.
You know, I have a tenant. Can you look them up? I mean, I'd love to, but I can't. We have to follow the guidelines of exactly what they give us.
Okay.
to
Mike
clarify.
just said that, was it a demo person in there or was it a real person? Bigger staff.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive, but I do believe he might have been.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm just letting Nancy know. I know she's interested in this stuff, that I will post this up on my YouTube channel. And then I'll send everybody that was registered tonight for this, I'll send you guys the application if you're interested in it. And then Caroline, how do they get it to you? Let's get that down.
Okay, so I am at, you have my email, so you can just forward my email. I will send you one with all my contact information and the application.
All right, let's put it in chat here, okay?
Okay.
I have your phone number, but I don't.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that. That's better. There we go.
And
Okay.
and you sell the
Okay.
not just IDI Core, but IDI data or something like that.
Say that one more time.
Oh, is there two companies that you're selling for? Is IDI? I'm going off of the guy who's hooked me up with this years ago, telling me it's the when you, like, say I wanted to send you all my probate cases.
Right.
Oh, thank you. You got that up there. So that's called, what's that called when the plan for that? Because I don't use that one, but
For the
okay, so batch. I think you called it batch.
Yeah. Oh, so the badge.
Yeah.
Batch is just one, so IDI Core has two different services.
Okay,
Underneath it, you have the one-off searches or the single skip searches, as we just went through. And the other one is the batching, which is more like multiple records, where you may have some kind of input to give us, and you want back specific output. So for example, something typical might be you have a property address, so a big list of property addresses, and you want back the phone number, the email of either the person at the property or even possibly the person that's getting the mail for that property, because that could be the owner.
Mhm.
So that's a typical scenario that I see often. But we have a
Okay.
lot more. They can get relatives and associates information,
Okay.
liens, judgments, bankruptcies.
Okay. I need to start taking you guys up on that. Okay, sounds good. All right, so for anybody that's on here, if you want to speak up, ask a question, I think you can quit sharing your screen now, Caroline, if you want,
Okay.
unless you want to show something else.
Nope, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and put my number in the chat, and then we're good to go.
Oh, I messed up on your number. I see. I made a mistake. Everybody, that was a mistake that I put in there.
Well, what's the correct number?
This is the right number,
561.
right
There it
here.
is. That's the correct one. That's it, 561. Yeah. Caroline, you're really, really get this. How long have you been with this company?
I've been with them for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
They've actually been just thriving 8 years. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of tenured people, management. So it's a good thing.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have a question before she goes? Because it's bedtime for her.
A big thank you.
Yes, a big
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Lovely audience, and best wishes to you all. I look forward to helping you with your complimentary trial.
Thank you.
And you guys just take her up on it and learn about it, okay? Thank you very much.
There's no strings attached. If you don't
Yeah.
like it, you won't hurt my feelings, but I promise you, you will.
Yeah, just take her up and learn from it. This is a learning type of thing. And so, if it's only 5 days, but you can do as much as you want during those 5 days. And even if it's just a few, but just, take her up on it, because this is part of your job, is finding people in this market in real estate. So just saying. Okay. Thank you, Caroline.
All right. Thank you.
You have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, there her screen goes. Hey guys. So what I found interesting about that is that I use RLID all the time, Lane County, but that I could get the same information from IDI that would link back to the local databases with our taxes. And I'm always like, when I'm looking for a property or looking at a property in Douglas County, I don't have that direct access to good information. And yet here I've had it all along, and I didn't realize it with this IDI Core stuff. So that was kind of mind-blowing for me there, that I never really clicked the arrow. It looked like a play button to me. I never clicked on that. So I thought that was interesting. I could have been saving a whole lot of steps, because Netron or whatever it's called, that website where you go through all the counties and try to find the property information, is always a big time suck. Also, the other thing about using IDI Core that I really like is that it's very fast. It's like you click, it's there. You don't have to watch any spinning little booger thing going and pretending like it's searching far and wide. It's instant. So I used to use Ben Verified, I had a really cheap plan on that for years and years. And, but it always was doing the whole little spinning thing, making me wait. And so I just couldn't stand that. And so what I pay, and I don't know if it's still available, I pay $100 a month for 120 searches basically. And I've never gone beyond 120. I've never even maxed out that, but that's what Charlie set me up with before Caroline came on. I've been using this a few years and I really like it. Any questions? Have any of you guys used background searches kind of thing, other stuff?
Myself
haven't.
personally, no, but I use services. I job out stuff.
What do you mean by that, Mike?
Well, if I need like a background check or something like that, I use a property management firm or something like that. I myself, I don't have subscriptions to various services at the moment.
So you link out to somebody else.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nancy was going to say something. Hi, Nancy.
I haven't used anything else.
You haven't used anything?
No.
Okay. Well, I thought I'd just give this a chance to be seen. I thought it was a good opportunity. So the other thing is that you saw that you could get email addresses and phone numbers. So if you're looking at a property, you do a drive-by, right? Driving for dollars, you see a property, you put the property in there, find out who owns it, what address they're getting the statements to, the tax statements, and you can get their phone number and their family. If you're having trouble finding them, you can get their email addresses. You can use that information then for social media to look them up on Facebook too, if that's the way you want to contact them instead. Those are ideas. So Alan, have you been doing any driving for dollars, or are you just busy with this duplex?
So I just go around my neighborhood. I just look and write down addresses. For me, I don't know like the next step in the aspect of wholesaling. So I'm not too worried about it, but I do write addresses down and I'm like, okay, this could be a potential flip or a potential wholesale. But when I kind of learning about wholesaling and stuff, I did do a PropStream. And it was kind of like IDI where you type in the address, you got the person's name, who owns it, and then potentially all their other properties that they do own. So you can look at that property. Next thing you know, they have like this one guy I looked up that was we bought the duplex from. He had about 7 or 8 more properties. So we knew that he really didn't want, and this property wasn't the greatest. So he just basically wanted to get rid of it because it was no longer, the tenants were bad. Yeah, he had bad tenants. And that was when COVID kind of happened and they weren't paying and the place was trashed. And so that's kind of how I looked at it. And then kind of like when I was talking with my realtor, making like offers that was like, it was lower for sure. So that was, it was good using that site. So that's the only tool that I've used so far. But
That's the first I've heard of it. So
oh yeah,
pulled it
yeah.
up.
So instead you have PropStream and they do like that as well, batching, skip
Okay.
tracing, and then Flipster is another one.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like IDI, but it's not so, but it's not with the criminal. It's strictly, it's like really focused directly on real estate. So, and you can actually like put the address on, and it kind of has like a map. So if you're driving, you can literally put the address in, and it's kind of like Google like maps when you're driving. So
Uh-huh.
it shows you the route, and it tells you like, say you pin that address. So you pin that address,
On
and
Pop
then
Street.
you can go back. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, all right. How much
yeah.
is
So
it?
it's pretty. It's I'm not 100% sure. I've been off of it for like when I first started, so it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, right, right.
So,
It's been,
yeah, but I'm eventually going to be getting into wholesaling or trying to. We're kind of potentially working with a relative that's over here. He has 2 properties. He's paying for them and he's not using them. So we're gonna try work out something like that, but still want to come to him prepared. So trying to figure all that out. But then we're also still working on our house. So there's a lot of things that could go. Like do we use a wholesale for that one to fix this house, and or do we try and flip that house as well, or work out a seller finance with that one. But yeah, so we got a lot of things that could be potentially in play, but I want to make sure I go, and make sure it's a good deal, and then also as well do the math. So if we could actually get in the property and check it out and stuff like that, that's gonna be awesome. So we'll see how all that goes.
super. Love to see you being so successful. That's awesome, Alan. Good job. You guys that are online here now, do you want me to send you the PDF application to check it out for 5 days for the IDI data?
Well, is it something that you send us, or would I email
I
your
have
email address and say,
you could do it that way. I have it pulled up right now on my computer so I can send it easily.
but this is a PDF, it's not a online interactive form?
No, it's a 3-page PDF.
Can
Yeah.
you fill it out on screen, or do you have to print this out and
I'll
turn
show
it into
it to you
paper?
right now. I'm gonna show it to you. It's mostly all about. I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, hang on. All right, is that big enough for you? Move that out of the way. So you see it asks for your company name up front, and then everything else is all about what you're signing up for, I guess, and what you will do. So it's like, when you're like getting a new app on the iPhone or what have you.
Yeah,
And
yeah. All
yeah,
the terms and
kind of those
conditions.
things. Yeah, the terms and conditions, it's all that. And there you go. There's the second page. And the third page is this. Now I have PDF where I can fill and sign.
Yeah, because
So
I would say it looks like the blue fields on a PDF where you can actually just fill it in.
yeah, you can.
I don't have a printer, and so like I do everything online, and
Okay.
once a year I have to call somebody up, say, hey, print this for me.
He's like, Kinko's, hello. Okay, I'll send it to you. Anybody else want it?
I like it, Grace.
Okay, I'll get it to you, Nancy, too. And then to the people that signed up but couldn't make it, I'll send it out to them too. But Alan, if you want to see it, I'll just send it to you. You can check it out. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Sometime when you're doing a lot of dealing with people like I'm doing, I'm using this database a lot. I mean, yeah. So I haven't done any batching, and I think that's a good idea. That would probably help my salespeople out. So, all right, I'll send it to you guys. I guess I can unshare. Yeah, there it is. Stop share. Oh, I don't know what. Through the years, they've moved these share buttons and all that kind of stuff from the bottom of the screen to the top to bottom. So all right, that's it for tonight. Any other things you guys want to bring up?
Keep cool.
Keep cool. Sign up for the members only mystery meeting next week. That's at PK Park. We're going to see the M's play. We got the suite, we got the food and the drinks and that kind of stuff. So yeah, sign up. The parking is $6 to park there. I suggest you have the $6. They probably have changed there too. But if you sign up ahead of time, I'll get you a parking pass. you sign up real soon, I'll get you a parking pass added and send it to you. I'll try to anyways. I think I can do that. So,
And
yeah,
that's for next week.
next Wednesday's
Next
members only,
Wednesday.
the members only mystery meeting. You haven't been to one of those, Alan, that I can remember.
I've been to, so I signed up a year ago. I've been to the one, it was actually you and Mike was working on one on F Street. That one was not finished, but you guys took all the stuff to the dump. And
Yeah,
then the other house you showed us was completed and it was about to go on market. But that was sometime last year. But that was pretty cool. 'Cause that was my first meeting and event, and it was pretty
Yeah.
awesome because we got to see a completed house, and then we're gonna go through this house, and so that was
Smelly house.
that was really
the
interesting.
smelly house to the good house.
Yes.
Well, awesome. So this time, usually that's what we do is see flips in progress, either beginning, middle, or end. But this time I'm paying for a party, and the opponents, the team that Eugene Emeralds are going to play is the Spokane Indians. So that's a good one. And it's at 6:35. You stay for a little while. I'm not really good at going to the 9th inning anyways, but I will for this occasion. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here tonight, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, guys.
Good night.